Hello and welcome to our very special Buzzing Bees Storytime right here on the Sewickley Public Library YouTube channel. I'm so glad you can join us. Today we're going to read some books about bees and we're going to get to meet our very own Sewickley Public Library beekeeper, reference librarian, Dustin Schilling. Should we get started? I would like to thank Henry Holtz, Abdo Publishing, and Readers to Eat for their permission to read their books to you today. Alrighty, let's start off with a little warm-up of head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The first time, we're gonna run it through regularly. The second time, we're gonna buzz through it. Here we go. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Alrighty, everyone, are you ready to buzz through it? Here we go. Buzz, 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 buzz and buzz and buzz and buzz, 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 buzz. Great job, everyone. Already, here we go with our very first book about bees. Bees by Grace Hanson. Bees are insects. Ants, beetles, and butterflies are insects too. Bees live in many places. You can even find them in your backyard. I bet you've seen a few bees this summer. Bees may have black and yellow stripes, and some bees are hairy. Bees have three main body parts. They are the head, thorax, and abdomen. Here's their head. Their thorax is their middle section, and their abdomen is their lower section. Bees have 6 legs and 4 wings, and they have 5 eyes and 2 antennas. Let's count the eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 eyes. Bees have a special mouth part. It looks like a straw. Can you see it there? Ouch! Watch out! All female bees have stingers. Oh, that looks very pointy. Bee homes. Some bees live alone. Other bees live in large groups called colonies. Colonies live in nests or beehives. Do you see all the bees in the beehive? And the hexagon-shaped honeycombs? Bees help the earth. Bees carry pollen from flower to flower. Some bees produce honey for us to eat. More bee facts. Honeybees are the only insects that make food that people can eat. All bees' wings beat about 190 times per second. That's what makes that buzzing sound you hear. Carpenter bees can drill through wood. Bees are usually attracted to flowers that are yellow, blue, or purple. Bees. Alrighty, everyone. Now we're going to meet Dustin and take a tour of his beehive. Enjoy!
Hi there, my name is Dustin and I'm a beekeeper, and we're going to give you a tour of my apiary today in my backyard. Before we go outside and get started, I just wanted to show you some of the equipment that we use as beekeepers. And the first thing I'm going to show you is my jacket. So my jacket helps protect me from getting stung. It's a plain color, usually they'll be tan or white, and it helps keep the bees calm. I'm going to put on my jacket. I'm going to zip it up. Here's the face shield. I'm just going to pull it over, and there's a zipper that zips the whole way around, and then a piece of Velcro to keep those bees from crawling up into my clothing. I also have my bee tool. This is a metal tool that I'm going to use when I'm out in the bee yard, the apiary. And I'm going to use this for prying, for scraping pieces of wax and propolis off of the frames in the beehive, and for getting in and opening things up, because bees like to take their wax and their propolis and stick everything together. This is my smoker that we're going to use before we go into the hive. And all we're going to do is light that, and it's going to create a nice cool smoke that we can blow into the hive and help calm the bees down a little bit before we open them up. The last thing I have are my gloves, and these are not big, long gloves. Same idea as my coat, in that we don't want bees to be able to crawl in and start stinging me. So I'm going to pull these sleeves the whole way up. So now we're set to go. We have all of our equipment and clothing, and we're ready to go outside and inspect one of our hives in the apiary. An apiary, by the way, is the name of our bee yard. You might have dozens and dozens of hives. In my backyard, I only have 2. Okay, so here is the hive. You see that there are 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. And there's a lid on top. The lid is covered in metal to help protect from the rain and moisture so that they don't get wet inside. And we're going to go around to the front. And here's the entrance where all of the bees come and go when they're going out into the field to find nectar and pollen. And this little board on the front is where they land and where they take off. And before we start, I'm going to start by lighting the smoker. I'm going to put my fuel inside. And I'm going to light the fuel. And you can see this spout here is going to help me direct the smoke into the hive where I want it to go. Before we get started, I'm going to put my gloves back on. Now, I wear a lot of clothes to help protect me from getting stung, but in general, honeybees are not aggressive. They're not going to go after you and try to sting you. I have my smoker. I'm just going to go around and smoking the front of the hive. Now I'm going to take my tool. I'm going to put it up underneath the lid. I'm going to pry the lid off. Inside the outer cover is what's called the inner cover. And I'm going to pry that off as well. I'm going to try to work pretty gently and not make aggressive movements that are going to startle them and make the bees angry. Just going to take my smoke. Okay, so you see the bees all doing their work. All of these pieces of wood here are called frames, and we're going to pull out one of those frames in just a minute and show you what's on them. But each one of them, bees are going to be building honeycomb and putting honey, but also new baby bees that will develop into adults and help the hive survive. Okay, so here is a frame of honeybees, and you can see here almost all of the brown at the bottom. That is all new bees, or what we call brood. And all of the ones that are covered up, those are ones that are in their development stage, and they're covered, and when they're born, they'll actually come out of that, poke their head out, and chew through the cover, and be ready to go to help the hive. Some of these other ones here that aren't covered up. Those are even younger bees. They might be eggs that have been freshly laid, or they also might be bees that have already hatched. Hundreds and hundreds of them, all working to support the hive, to help raise the brood and to help make honey, which is their food source, so they can survive the winter and sustain the queen. We can see on this one, see that big fat bee right in the middle? That's a drone. All the other bees are workers. And sometimes people think that a drone might be a queen, but it's actually just a male bee. So I'm going to put the frames back in exactly how they were. I'm going to take the inner cover, put it on top, and I'm going to take the outer cover, place it on top. So you can probably tell now that the bees are flying around right now a lot more than they were when we started. They're getting a little bit agitated from me being in the hive for so long. We're going to take all the equipment, go back inside, and call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me for exploring the inside of a beehive, and we'll see you at the library.
Our next book is Bee Dance by Rick Krastowski. Did you know that bees dance? Let's find out more about this. When sunlight warms your honeybee wings, off you go on flower patrol. Look, friends, a hive. It looks very similar to Mr. Dustin's hive. Follow a sweet scent floating on air to find a honeybee gold mine. A prairie in bloom. And there are the yellow and purple flowers. Sip sugary nectar with your bendy straw tongue. Yum! Race home. Climb in the beeswax cone. Excitement buzzes all around. The other bees know that you have news. Do the waggle dance, honeybee. Make a figure eight. Twirl in a circle. Wag your body up and down the middle run. Then twirl around to the other side. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Do you see them here making their figure eight and twirling as they go? Waggle faster, honeybee. Buzz louder. Your dancing points the way to the prairie. How long you waggle your body tells the others how far to go. Now the bees know just where to fly, and off they go. Soon they see flowers reaching towards the sky. Go to work, forager bees. Collect the nectar to make honey. Stuff pollen in baskets on your hind legs. Stay out late. Carry your heavy prize back to the hive. The last glow of sunset lights the long way home. Unload your heavy cargo, store it in the cones, then settle in for the night. When you wake up, warm your honeybee wings in the morning sun and dance the prairie jitterbug once again. Bee dance. Alrighty, everyone. Dustin is back to answer all of our questions that we may have about bees. Dustin, thank you so much for showing us your beehives. We have a few questions for you. How or why did you become a beekeeper?
I decided to become a beekeeper because I think that they're fascinating animals and they have really interesting lifestyles, and it was something that I could do on my small property, and it doesn't take a lot of room, and also I wanted to get honey, so that's why I wanted to become a beekeeper.
Great. How many times have you been stung?
Oh, I've been stung a few times over the years, but it doesn't hurt that much. Doesn't hurt as much as a hornet or a yellow jacket. Plus, when you're a beekeeper, you get used to the stings a little bit, as long as you're not allergic to them, and it doesn't hurt quite as much.
How often do you use the smoker?
I try to use the smoker every time I inspect a hive, and a smoker will reduce a bee's sense of smell temporarily so they can't spread pheromones to alert the hive that something might be wrong. But I use it pretty much every time I inspect a hive.
How often do you collect honey from the bees?
In Pennsylvania, we usually collect honey at the most twice a year. So once would be in the middle of the summer, right after all of the spring and summer flowers have bloomed. And if you're good and you have a good season and you don't have too much rain or it's not too dry, you can also collect honey in the fall after some of the fall blooms happen. But you don't want to take too much or else they won't have enough honey to survive the winter.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our last book is The Thing About Bees, a Love Letter by Shabazz Larkin. Here's the thing about bees. Sometimes they can be a bit rude. They fly in your face and prance on your food. They buzz in the bushes and buzz in your ear. They sneak up behind you and fill you with fear. And worst of all, they do this thing called sting. Ouch! We may want bees to be gone because their sting hurts, but if they were all gone, it would hurt much worse. Without bees, there'd be no more picnics with watermelon. There'd be no more smoothies with mango. There'd be no more strawberries for shortcakes. No more avocados for tacos. There'd be no apples, which means no apple pies. No more cucumbers, which means no more pickles. No blueberries and raspberries for pancakes or sweet cherries to drizzle. Oh, I love all those things. I would be sad if they were all gone. Because some foods won't grow without bees helping them along. In a way, bees are just like you. You buzz in the bushes and buzz in my ear. You sneak up behind me and fill me with fear. You fly in my face and prance on my food. You even sting when you're in a bad mood. But I never stop loving you. You're my sweet cherry. You're my apple pie of my eye. You're my cucumber pickle, my bumblebee in the sky. You're my cold watermelon at a picnic in the park. You're the avocados on my tacos. You're my strawberry heart. Without those little buzzers, the world wouldn't know what to do. That's the thing about bees. We need them just as much as we need you. The great thing about this book is it talks about all the different kinds of bees there are, and it rates them from kind to kind of mean. So we have our bumblebee that Mr. Dustin has over here that's kind. So our carpenter bee, our honeybee, our mud dauber, our hornet, and then the yellow jacket, which is definitely kind of me. Thank you so much for joining us for our very special Buzzing Bee story time. I'd like to thank our resident beekeeper, Dustin Schilling, for helping us out. And I'm glad that you've learned a few more things about bees. Have a good day.